I've been following the developer of Sushi Ben since the second he started posting pictures of his game on Twitter. The 3D manga panels specifically were an intriguing use of VR, but I had no idea what kind of game Sushi Ben was going to end up being. Based on the trailers that showed off table tennis, fishing, and even ghost hunting, I would have assumed it's just a collection of minigames. But now that I've played it and rolled credits, that's definitely not an accurate description. There are minigames here, but Sushi Ben is a visual novel.
お役に立てて嬉しいわ、ベンちゃん。あ、さて、そろそろじゃあな、ベン。寿司の神、ちゃんと飯食えよ。
Sushi Ben drops you into a small Japanese seaside town. And everything's anime inspired, so the simple character models and the flat shaded polygons work really well here. As does the super smooth native 120Hz frame rate. And there's a lot of nice touches everywhere, like the sun that animates brighter when you look at it. There's a lot of small businesses, a farm, and some little houses, and of course a few people scattered around. But as much character as this little town has, you yourself don't have much of an identity. The people of Kotobuki Town talk a lot. Like, a lot. And even though you're given dialogue choices here and there, they're few and far between. Not that it matters much, as they seldom have any impact on what happens. Which leaves you listening to Japanese voiceovers and clicking through dialogue boxes for about 90% of the game. Now, this right here should be the determining factor as to whether or not Sushi Ben is for you, but as you might know, I hate reading at length in VR, and I absolutely despise standing in one place while characters talk at me. Which means I should hate Sushi Ben, but for some reason, I just don't. And that might be because everything here is just so damn charming. The guitar and harmonica-infused soundtrack was uplifting, the writing is well done with a good balance of seriousness and humor, and possibly because of that, I really felt for the characters living in this town, and with big business coming in and trying to ruin them, I wanted to help in any way I could. Now, despite this town seeming like a small open world, the moment-to-moment gameplay ends up being pretty linear. You do quests in order, one at a time, and there's never anything to do in between. If you're not supposed to be somewhere, then that place will be empty with nothing to do and no one to talk to. I know it's an indie game made by a small group of developers, but whenever I went off the beaten path and wasn't going from waypoint to waypoint, is when I'd start to get bored and started wishing there was a way to make some money in the town, to buy some decorations for my really empty apartment. I would have loved to customize it and decorate it any way that I felt. And honestly, you meet so many characters in this town that after a while, you start wondering what they're up to. And because they only appear again when it's part of the script, the town starts feeling a little like The Truman Show. Now, that might sound like a bad thing, but you very quickly start becoming the town hero, so you really do feel good about everything you're doing. You'll sweep leaves, walk a dog, go get crops, with the main objective simply being to help out the local sushi shop. This means that you do quite a bit of fishing in order to catch specific fish, although it's not super in-depth or anything. You'll always catch the fish you're looking for, and there's no strategy or challenge here either. Just cast, reel it in, and occasionally grab the rod with both hands in order to satisfy the QTE events. Actually, none of the mini-games are terribly difficult, with ghost hunting being the most fun, and table tennis going into bullet time so early and for so long, it's impossible to fail. Again, this all sounds like a negative, but once you get into the groove, it becomes insanely obvious that Sushi Ben is trying to deliver a relaxing, casual story that anyone could enjoy. A cozy game, to put it in modern terms. Because one of the things you're tasked with is to go get more residents to come hang out and patronize the sushi restaurant, you strangely end most interactions with different people you encounter by asking them to go to dinner. And dude, I am 100% shocked that Sushi Ben didn't turn into a dating sim a few hours in. You end up sitting down and eating sushi with literally everyone in town one-on-one, and a lot of those interactions feel like dates. A lot of them even feel like they're set up that way. Now, this would have been a cool addition, mostly because it would have led to adding more things to do in town if you felt like venturing away from the current quest. But since a lot of the residents seem really old or really young, I mean, even Sushi Ben, who looks like a little kid, is supposed to be 21, and we have no idea how old our character is supposed to be. Maybe it's for the best that it wasn't included. I mean, there's no need for a giant question mark to be put on a game that's really so wholesome. I only brought it up because, well, It just seemed like that's the direction the game was taking, and considering the anime inspirations here, I think most people will agree with me. Now, I'm a little torn on whether or not Sushi Ben could be called VRAF. There's plenty of immersive things to do in the game, although I think the only door you open by hand is your own, and the haptics while fishing could definitely be improved. But what I will say is that Sushi Ben is the best visual novel I've played in VR, showing Tokyo Chronos that if you let the player move on their own, give them a choice or two in dialogue now and again, let them play a few minigames, and eat sushi with the sense controllers, you'll have a much more engaged audience when the next 5-minute conversation rolls around.
弁殿の肺活量は天下一品でござるな。どれだけ長いため息ができても。
I think it's easy to focus on what Sushi Ben doesn't do or what it could have done better. And I can't be the first one to mention all of this because the developers have said that they're already planning more content for the game, specifically side quests that you can do during the game that actually give you a reason not to beeline it to the next mission marker. But when I think back to my time in Kotobuki Town, I don't think of the lack of an English voice dub, or all the reading I had to do, or even the complete lack of challenge. I think of the town and the characters and the community I helped foster, a business I helped save, and really wonder if they're doing okay now. Oh, and the cats are awesome.
大工房。お前は本屋に行ってくれるか。
それがし、本屋にはまだい。Meow.